Okay, Zach Adamson, guitarist, songwriter, co-singer for highly regarded metal band Above Below, who are also due to drop their much-anticipated full-length album, The Lotus Chapters, on September 27th, which follows on from your 2017 debut EP, The Sowers of Discord. Zach, thanks again for making the time to have a chat with myself and Crannk. I really do appreciate it, mate.
Anytime, mate. Thank you very much for having me on.
First off, can you just tell me a little bit about yourselves and for our listeners and readers, who are Above Below?
Yeah, well, Above Below is myself, Zach, our singer Jacob, our drummer Isaac, our bassist, our guitarist Nick, and our bassist Dylan. We're a five-piece progressive metalcore band, I guess you could say would be the best way to sort of summate it. We come from the Sutherland Shire, so we do weird metal, and we like to muck around and have a good time, and yeah, it's cool.
You play some great metal. Can you tell me how the band formed, mate?
Yeah. We've all been friends for ages. Jacob and I went to school together since we were like 12. And we all sort of played in other bands, but we're all very, very tight-knit and all hanging out all the time. And then early in like 2016, probably, we all just started jamming together and writing some stuff, and then it all sort of went from there.
Yep. So can you tell me how you first started playing guitar, mate?
Yeah, well, I first started playing guitar super young. My dad was a guitarist, so he was mega into everything. I probably started playing guitar when I was like maybe 3 or 4, and I played it for like a year, and then I hated it because I was too impulsive, and I stopped playing. And then I picked it up again when I was in maybe year 6 or year 7, so I was probably around 12 or 13. And that's when I started getting really into music and really into metal specifically, and then it all sort of just went from there.
Oh, so your dad would be fair to say he'd be a bit of an inspiration to you musically. You got a lot of your music probably from your parents, did you? Or
100%. My dad is one of the biggest music nerds on the planet, along with me. He's worked in the music industry all his life. He loves music, and he gave me pretty much everything. He sat me down and was showing me bands from when I probably couldn't even speak. He's definitely probably my personal biggest inspiration in terms of playing music.
That's really cool, because this is like the third band I've interviewed in the last week with guys that have had dads that have been really positive in influencing their music career. That's actually really uncanny that's come so up.
Cool. It's definitely an awesome thing, 100%.
What was the first guitar you owned, mate?
So first guitar I owned, I had a little, this little Fender Squier mini guitar, like a 3/4 length head, 3/4 length neck, sorry. That was the first one I think I ever got. And then the first proper guitar I got was a Charvel San Dimas, which I still have to this day, and it is amazing. Plays like butter. It's a very Van Halen-esque guitar. I love it.
Is that one of the main guitars you used for the album, or what guitars are you using for the album?
No. So I used that for some of the cleans and the leads, but it's just a 6-string standard, so It's not necessarily very good for our tuning.
Okay.
But our tuning is essentially standard tuning with a low A and a low E on the bottom. So I can do a lot of the leads and the cleans that don't utilize those bottom strings on standard scale length guitars, which is really nice. So I use that in conjunction with a PRS. I'm not too sure the exact model. Actually, It was my our engineer's guitar, but it was a really, really nice PRS.
Oh, unreal. The Lotus Chapters, as I was saying before we started recording of that, is an absolutely amazing listen, and is best actually when it comes out on the 27th, is listened to from start to finish. It's just an amazing album, and it has a particular concept to it. Do you mind telling me about that?
Yeah, 100%. The concept is essentially growth at the end of the day, and about life and what it sort of means to exist. It's all sort of told with a overbearing metaphor of a lotus growing, flourishing, then blooming, and sort of getting to its end point. And from start to finish, the album sort of details what it's like to be young and blissfully ignorant and grow up and sort of love the world around you, and then go through sort of the hardships of middle to like late life as well, and in your teenage years, and sort of more of the darker aspects and the sadness you can find in life. And then as you move into the final chapter, you sort of see a bit more of a a holistic representation of that the world is both the dark and the light, and that sort of yin yang duality and that sort of paradoxical pair of opposites that exist to sort of balance the world. And that's sort of what it is in blanket terms. There's a lot of weird nerdiness that you can go into in terms of detail, but that'll all unfold within the lyrics and everything. But as a basic overbearing concept, it's essentially about growing up, living, and life itself.
Yeah. So with all that in mind, how did you sit yourself down and approach a songwriting with this?
Yeah, so it was pretty funny. Like, we initially had set out to just do another EP. We never even thought of doing an album. We sort of started writing, and then it all sort of started coming together, and we were writing more songs, and then there was sort of a light bulb moment there when the whole Lotus idea clicked into my head, and the whole theme, and then we were like, well, maybe we should do an album. And we liked the idea of having it in threes and having that sort of nice, I guess, neat perspective of having it split into the 3 chapters and having it all separated. And I don't know, it was definitely one of the easier writing phases for all of us. It all sort of came together really, really nice and very smoothly, and no idea was shunned, which was very, very cool. We've got a lot of weird stuff in there, from like, utilization of sitars to synths to vocoders to as many weird things as we could possibly throw in there. So we really got to experiment, and we got to do a lot of cool stuff. And yeah, the writing was a really smooth process. I actually had a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah, and there's a really cool making of. I watched the making of your album, and that was really cool to watch too. I was watching last night, so I'll put links into that as well.
The third part of that comes out very soon, I believe.
Yeah, awesome. And the first single you went off the album was Beyond the Mosaic Garden. Can you tell me a little bit what this track means for you?
Yeah, so Beyond the Mosaic Garden is in the middle chapter. It's the end of the middle chapter. And essentially what that song is detailing is sort of the experience of finding a lot of things within abstract experiences. There's a lot of stuff in the world that you can get from that is very pertinent, very meaningful from within experiences that are outside of the norm. And the whole idea behind it is, accepting something out of your comfort zone and then finding something new within that'll, I guess, pertain to your life in a greater sense. It also has a lot to do with looking at the world and how we're not really seeing what's necessarily there, what's right in front of our eyes. We tend to disregard it, especially with nature. There's a massive nature theme running through the whole album, and the fact that nature is a very beautiful thing, and it grows as we do, and we do live on an earth that is essentially living, and it's very, very easy to look past that and look into our materialistic goods and into all, I guess, the wants of the world as opposed to our personal needs and our personal lives. And Beyond the Mosaic Garden sort of attacks that through the perspective of being, I guess, a bit confused and in a sort of dreamlike state and finding things within that dreamlike state.
Yeah. Yeah, that's unreal. And it was filmed in a pretty beautiful spot. Looks cold though too. Can you tell me where you filmed that?
Don't even get me started.
Where'd you film that one?
Yeah, so that was pretty funny. We were just gonna wing it and just drive down to like Canberra, sort of Jindabyne way, and just hope we found a place. And a good friend of mine, Tom from high school, moved to his farm in Canberra, which is in the Brindabellas. It's like sort of inland Canberra, just through a bunch of mountains. Yeah. And he was like, "Oi, I have some snow up on my mountain sometimes." Like, the dude actually owns like a freaking mountain. And was like, yeah, sometimes I get snow up this mountain, and he sent me some pictures. I was like, that looks pretty sick, and we're like, this is going to be way better than us just trying to, set up a drum kit and a loudspeaker in the middle of nowhere and hope we don't get busted or done for noise or whatever. So we went there, we stayed at his, and then on the day it was actually really sunny, and we're like, this isn't going to be good. So we thought we were going to have to change the video, but we just kept driving up this mountain, and then at one point it just sort of clicked, and it was all of a sudden like a Norwegian winter up there, and we're like, it was perfect. And then we just found a frozen lake on the side of the road and filmed it in there.
No, it was unreal, because I got that track would come out late 2018, had listened to that one when that came out as well. It was unreal track.
Yeah.
Why'd you guys go with that one first off the album?
Yeah, I think it's the reason we went with it first is because it still had a lot of weirdness in it. We sort of wanted to just throw something oddball out there, and just see what we could get some feelers and some tasters from seeing what people would feel like if we released sort of the weirdest song straight off the bat. And it was definitely the one song on the album I feel like, at least personally, and we all sort of agree that it stands alone on stands well on its own compared to a lot of the other songs.
Yeah.
A lot of the other songs are sort of intrinsically tied to one another and flow really well as you listen to the album from start to finish, whereas Beyond the Mosaic Garden definitely can be analysed on its own and looked at and listened to on its own without necessarily thinking that it pertains to something more, where it does, but
definitely.
it was just a good standalone
I got that as
song
well.
to release.
I did get that as well. Yeah, that was I got that really too. And the latest single and the final one before the album comes out next week was Blood Wine. That was a really cool film clip and a cool song. Can you tell me first a little bit about what that track means for you?
Yeah, so Blood Wine was an interesting writing experience for myself. I never really have written that sort of way before. I always write more in a positive sense or a very heavily metaphorical sense, and I sort of like to flow around with fancy wording and wordplay and flurrying sort of stuff. But when we're writing that middle chapter, I definitely wanted it to be more straightforward and more aggressive and more rapacious, and I had to tap into some shitty experiences that I'd had in my life, and I don't know, I tend to bury a lot of that stuff, which everyone tells you not to do, but you do it anyway because that's just how you exist as a human. But I had a lot of repressed rage and just a lot of stuff I needed to get off my chest and things I just wanted to say, and it's about shitty relationships, not in just a romantic sense, but about with if you have shitty parents or you have a shitty relationship with your parents or friends or anything, there's snakes in the grass, man, and they're everywhere around you, and that's what the song's about. It's about saying fuck you to them.
It would have been cathartic, as you said, to have that song, because a lot of your songs do have that positive kind of wordplay, and it would have been kind of cathartic to get that song ripped out there,
100%. That was definitely one of the most cathartic songs on the album I had writing, and getting that off my chest writing the whole album was actually an extremely cathartic experience for me personally. It attacked a lot of things that I was thinking about in my life that I wanted to sort of put onto a page, and writing in general and art in general is a very expressive thing, and it's really cool to get that stuff out. It's awesome that a medium like that exists that other people can connect with as well.
Oh, it's amazing. We have some amazing bands like yourselves, so many great bands like yourselves coming through on the Australian music scene. It's really
it's incredible. The Australian music scene is so fantastic.
Yeah, can you tell me a little bit about the production process? Like, where did you record the album and who did you record with and mixed, mastered it, etc.?
Yeah. So we sort of did a bit of a hybrid between recording a lot of it ourselves and then also doing it with our engineer Nicholas Page, who plays guitar for All Eternity. We tracked all the rhythm guitars ourselves, and our singer did all the production in terms of synths and the effects and sort of all the background layers and all the sort of weirdy bits. And then when we went into the studio, we tracked all the vocals at STL Studios with Nick. We tracked the vocals, we tracked the drums, and then me and Jacob sort of both tracked all the cleans and the leads in the studio because they needed a bit more finessing with rather than the sort of the edited rhythm guitars. So we sort of split it up to give ourselves a bit more time because recording 12 tracks is hard and we're all broke, poor, and so recording a full-length album when we're all trying to work as well was just a bit of a heavy experience. So it was nice to be able to spread it out over sort of a year and then also smash out all the bits we needed to in the studio.
Because it's an amazing album.
Yeah, working with Nick was incredible.
It is an amazing album. People don't realise that guys like yourself that bring out this art and work as hard as you do actually have day jobs to try and bring this art out and share it with the rest of us. So get out there, get amongst it and support it.
Yeah, definitely. That's sort of the dream. But, at the end of the day, we write it because we love doing it, and it's such a nice release. And, I work 4 days a week. I'm at uni 3 days a week. I'm smashed every day. But there's nothing more I like doing than music at the end of the day. And it's fun to do it. So, yeah, it's hard work, and sometimes you feel like shit about it. But at the end of the day, it's so damn worth it.
And you produce this amazing album. Zach, thank you so much for making the time to have a chat with me, mate. I really do appreciate it. So, September 27th, the Lotus Chapters comes out. Everyone listen to this. Go and get that bad boy. Crank it up. Don't just listen to it on Spotify. Go buy the album. Where can we pre-order it now or anything like that, Zach? Where can we go?
Yeah, so pre-orders are still available. If you want to pre-order through Bandcamp, you can get the WAV, so you can get that lossless format. We also got all our physical packages and everything on our Bandcamp. You can go to our website, or you can go on the Bandcamp and go suss that out. And yeah, give it a pre-order. Give it a listen at the end of the day. Hope people find something within it.
It's an amazing album. Thank you so much, Zach. You have a lovely day, mate. Thank you again for chatting with myself and Crannk. Thank you.
Awesome. See you, mate.
See you,
Bye.
mate.